Imagine this. You're a teenager in the 1960s, hair a little too long, guitar in hand, and a dream in your head. You walk into gym class and there's a no-nonsense coach glaring at you. The kind of teacher who thinks rock music is just noise and long hair is a crime against good manners. Now imagine that same teacher's name ends up on the world stage, forever tied to one of the most legendary rock bands in history. Sounds like poetic justice, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to Lynyrd Skynyrd, the man behind the name Lynyrd Skynyrd. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love wild rock and roll stories and the people behind them, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, because today, we're diving into the unbelievable true story of the man who accidentally became a rock legend, without ever playing a note. Leonard Skinner, who passed away at 77 in Florida, was never a musician, never wrote a hit song, and never toured the world. Nope, he was a high school PE teacher, but his legacy? Immortalized forever in the name of Lynyrd Skynyrd, the southern rock powerhouse that gave us Sweet Home Alabama and Freebird. So how does a strict gym teacher become part of rock history? Let's rewind to Jacksonville, Florida in the 1960s. At Robert E. Lee High School, yes, that was the real name, Skinner was known for his ironclad rules, especially one, no long hair on male students. He believed discipline mattered, that sports and neatness went hand in hand. But that didn't sit well with a few rebellious teens who'd rather be jamming in a garage than running laps in gym shorts. Among them, Ronnie Van Zant, Gary Rossington, and Alan Collins, the future founding members of Lynyrd Skynyrd. These kids were troublemakers in the best kind of way. Passionate, stubborn, and completely in love with music. Their hair got longer, their guitars louder, and Coach Skinner? Well, he wasn't having it. If your hair brushed your collar, you were in his office. If you didn't cut it, you were out of school. Rossington even got suspended multiple times over it. One story goes that Rossington's father marched into the principal's office one day, furious. He told the headmaster that his son needed long hair because he was earning money from his band, trying to support his family. But the school didn't care. The head teacher reportedly suggested Gary get a crew cut and wear a wig on stage. Imagine that, a southern rock band with matching wigs. Maybe not quite the same vibe. So, out of frustration, out of rebellion, and maybe just a little humor, the boys decided to name their band after the man who'd given them so much grief. They took Lynyrd Skinner, twisted the spelling to reflect their southern drawl, and bam, Lynyrd Skynyrd was born. It was part joke, part revenge, and part tribute. But here's the twist. Years later, the coach who'd been their enemy ended up becoming something of a friend. As Lynyrd Skynyrd rose to fame in the 1970s, their music blasting through speakers all across America, Skinner's name became iconic. The band even featured a sign from his real estate business, complete with his phone number, on the cover of their 1975 album, Nothin' Fancy. And you can guess what happened next. Thousands of fans from around the world started calling him just to talk about the band. Imagine being a retired gym teacher, and your phone's ringing off the hook from people in Japan, Germany, or Nashville, asking if you're the Lynyrd Skynyrd. It must have been surreal. But Skinner took it in stride. In a 1996 interview, he laughed about it and said, "I just went along with the flow. There was not much I could do about it." That right there, a man who knew when to let rock history have its way. And despite their rough start, Skinner actually reconnected with the band over time. They became friendly, even respectful. The group members often spoke warmly about him, remembering not just the strict teacher, but the man behind the whistle, the one who helped shape their rebellious spirit, even if by accident. Gary Rossington, one of the last surviving original members, paid tribute when Skinner passed, saying, "Coach Skinner had such a profound impact on our youth that ultimately led us to naming the band, which you know as Lynyrd Skynyrd after him. Looking back, I cannot imagine it any other way. That's the beautiful irony here. What started as a punishment turned into a piece of music history. Without that conflict, maybe Lynyrd Skynyrd never would have found their name, their voice, or that spark of defiance that made them legends. It's a reminder that sometimes, the people who push against us the hardest end up shaping us the most, and it wasn't just about the name. Skinner's influence went further than anyone expected. The band's image, that southern pride, that rebellion against authority, was rooted in those early school days. They were kids being told to conform, to fit in, and they refused. Their music became an anthem for individuality, for freedom, for saying, "We'll do it our way." Leonard Skinner lived to see his unlikely fame play out over decades. From his days as a coach to becoming a real estate agent, he never escaped that connection. His sign, his actual business sign, ended up as a piece of rock memorabilia. Fans saw him as part of the Lynyrd Skynyrd mythos, a living Easter egg from rock's golden era. And although he wasn't a rock star, in a strange way, he became one. As the years went by, Skinner developed Alzheimer's disease, but he remained good-natured about his odd place in history. Friends said he kept a sense of humor about the whole thing. He even grew particularly close to bassist Leon Wilkeson and Gene Odom, the band's bodyguard. These were men who had lived through unimaginable highs and heartbreaking lows, like the 1977 plane crash that killed Ronnie Van Zant and several others. Through all of that, Skinner stayed connected to them, reminding everyone that behind the music, behind the fame, there were real human connections built on shared memories of a small high school gym in Florida, and maybe that's what makes this story so special. It's not just about a band name. It's about how life's weird coincidences, even the ones that start with tension, can create something timeless. Lynyrd Skynyrd might have hated long hair back in the day, but his name became synonymous with the spirit of rock and roll. Freedom, rebellion, and a refusal to back down. So next time you hear Sweet Home Alabama or Freebird, take a second to think about Coach Skinner, the man who accidentally gave the world one of rock's greatest names. He might have been the villain in a few teenage stories back then, but today he's a legend in his own right. And that, my friends, is the beauty of rock history. It's full of stories that remind us that sometimes the strict teacher, the bad haircut, the suspension, all of it becomes part of something bigger than anyone could have imagined. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes tales from music history, and hit that bell so you never miss an upload. Until next time, keep your hair long, your guitars loud, and your hearts wild. Rock on!